If you had to imagine a world where there was no beauty, most people would not want to live in that world.
Beauty is good for our health.
I think beauty brings us together, and that's its real power. Beauty really brings us together. Do you know that 8 million people went to see the Mona Lisa every year from around the world? It's a famous painting, but people think it's beautiful. It's what a social species needs. We need to experience beauty and beautiful things together.
A pleasure response happens when your brain processes a scene that includes aspects of being familiar, it's non-threatening, and it has the potential for pleasure. When those three things are present, then your brain goes into rest and relaxation. It's an efficient processing mode, and your brain likes that because it doesn't have to stress out to process a lot of difficult information. Well, when you go into that efficient processing mode, a whole set of complex hormones, feel-good hormones, are released into your bloodstream, and the result of that is a feeling of pleasure. And the result of that is the exclamation, "It's beautiful."
When we talk about beauty, at least in English, often we use words like enchanting, enthralling, alluring, charming. These are all words that are related to magic. So I think that there is, even in the language we use, there is a recognition that there is something magical, something mysterious about beauty that we all experience. But it's very hard to put our finger on exactly what this thing is. I think the role of beauty is pervasive. We are constantly surrounded by our environment. We react to people, we react to places, we react to things. Beauty gives us pleasure, and it gives us pleasure in a way that sometimes we don't even realize this.
In my opinion, beauty has the role to calm our senses, or better, to make us look for something that calms our senses, to look for relax, to look for inner peace. From my point of view, beauty is something, somewhere, something that doesn't make us feel impaired. It's somewhere we can stay and look for and look after and look for. It has a role of making us feel good.
Beauty is important to our lives, more important than you might think. And it's easy to achieve. Here's a suggestion. Go home this evening and take 2 medium-sized photographs and hang them symmetrically above your fireplace. That's the beginning of a facial pattern. Or rearrange your furniture into a 3x3 pattern. The more you use this, the stronger it is. Beauty is a powerful and positive force in our lives that can help rebalance the equation in architecture.
What's really important to do when you think about beauty is to make beautiful things and make things that appeal to more people. And if you're not sure it's beautiful, ask them. You can just, have 2 different versions and see which one people like. Or sometimes it's really simple things. You can go to a postcard store if you're in a city and see what's on the postcards. Usually it's the beautiful places that are on the postcards. People don't want to take pictures of ugly places, or they're not going to take pictures of a dump. People won't buy that postcard. It's usually the beautiful postcards they'll buy. And then you can understand more what the beauty is. And the beauty draws us together, because there you are, you're buying a postcard to send to someone who's not in your place to show them the beauty, to share the beauty. Beauty is about sharing. It's about sharing a positive experience.
Most people in the materially developed world spend 90% of their time indoors, right? So this is most of our time. So the question is, what are we surrounded by? What are the colors of the walls that we have? What do we have hanging on the walls? What kind of light do we have? What are the objects we interact with on a regular and daily basis? What do your dishes look like? What does your furniture look like?
Of course, there are many ways to implement beauty in our lives, but in my opinion, and for me, what works best is paying attention to details. I find that when I do things, when I create sculptures, when I work with light, and all the details are in its place, all the small things are taken care of, then this attracts beauty, or what I think beauty is for me.
I see beauty everywhere. I think it's hard for me not to see beauty. To my right, I have several plants. I have right outside the deck, I have a bird feeder. I can hear the sounds of the little birds tweeting right now. That's too light for you to hear. I have this Japanese print behind me by Hiroshige, are all ways to foreground beauty in the environment.
You can see beauty all over the world, sometimes in really small things and sometimes in big things. Or the other day, I had a bouquet of flowers and I put it in the middle of my kitchen table. And then suddenly the kitchen looked beautiful. Well, how did that happen? I just moved in 8 flowers. What happened? I brought in beauty, and then the whole experience of the place changed. And I'm ready to invite someone over to have lunch with me.
If I should reduce to one thing, one place where I see beauty is in coincidences. Is in that moment where two things that appears random make something together. It's when a shadow touches a corner. In my case, I work a lot with light and shadows are the best way to deal with this for me. To look for beauty into the shadows is to make sure that the shadow has its place. It's not something random that appears to be there. It's a shadow that has a purpose, or it's simply a shadow, not a purpose, but it has a place to be. I don't know, for example, I find it very beautiful when a corner of a room makes the shadow exactly square, and it's make it feel like a geometry figure instead of something of an absence. I find beauty in shadows, definitely.
Beauty is a powerful and positive force in our lives that can help rebalance the equation in architecture. Let's use it as we go forward. It'll make the world a more beautiful and a healthier place. Thank you very much.